All right, guys, here we are, game one in this best of 9 for $500 between our Zerg and Protoss player. And here we have our Zerg spawning in the upper right part of Entombed Valley from the team Check 6, formerly of the Team Slayers, a very talented Zerg player. His name is Sleep. And down at the bottom, in the blue, in the lower right part of the map from the Team Prime, one of the best up-and-coming Protoss players in StarCraft 2 easily. I love this guy. It is Creator.
That's right, a guy who just made Code S over his... He actually had to qualify by beating his teammate Maru to receive that automatic seed. Of course, Maru then went to the up-and-down matches, but still, that's how Creator got through to the automatic seed. And a guy who's made a name for himself recently in a lot of team leagues as well. He performed incredibly well in Team Arena Challenge 2 en route to Prime's win. Now, Sleep, on the other hand, is a guy who's really been on the up and up lately as well. Has been playing very solidly. Won our North American regional as well, so you'll see him at IPL 5. But, you know, even apart from that, he's been doing very well in a lot of foreign tournaments. Unfortunately, his team, Check 6, was one of the first 4 teams knocked out of Team Arena Challenge 3. Yeah, that's right. Going back to Creator for a moment, I just want to say this is my official prediction for him. We will see Creator.Prime as on the finals stage of a major tournament this year. We will. Whether it's GSL, IPL, MLG, DreamHack, you know, whatever it is, he's going to take either first or second at one of those major tournaments this year. And mark my words. Not only am I going to echo those sentiments, I'm going to one-up you and say that this guy is going to be a multiple major tournament winner in his career. So, you think so? Not this year, but in his career. I say within the next 3 years, he's taken at least 2 or 3 major tournament wins. Well, I'm talking like GSL, MLG, IPL. You know, that's one of the really exciting things about Creator.Prime is that he's actually very, very young right now, and he's already this good. So he's got potentially a very long career ahead of him. That's right. We'll have to see if he can jump-start it a bit by winning Fight Club, of course, the most prestigious show match in all of StarCraft 2. Hey, if I do say so myself. You know what? We've had GSL winners here. We've had some of the very best players in the world. So Creator.Prime, no real surprise. Put down his Forge on 17 Nexus right afterwards, so a little bit more economical, and a little bit later that Forge allows him to put up the gateway and still have enough for that Photon Cannon right afterwards. Sleep, on the other hand, decided to go pool first. No real surprise there. Didn't want to take harassment. But then before he put down his second hatchery, did decide to get gas. And I think that's a good decision. Creator has not seen that, though. Yeah, Creator.Prime, you know, may make the assumption that Sleep is going to go for the 3-hatch build. A lot of Zergs still do it on this map, but I feel like it is a little bit dangerous. It may even be too dangerous, especially if you're not cross spawns like these two are. So I think the decision to get gas, get the Zergling speed much quicker is a good decision by Sleep. It's really going to help him be able to be out there, make sure that no forward pylons go down. If he's diligent with his scouting, it's going to help him get a third base pretty quickly, but not, you know, in an unsafe way. I think he's going to be in great shape. Yeah, he's pulled off of gas right away, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him take a third relatively fast here. Yeah. But, you know, Sleep is the type of player to kind of pull out some crazy builds every once in a while, so we just don't know yet. We're going to have to kind of watch. But at any rate, he's in a pretty good spot to defend the early game right now. And this is a long best of course. It's a best of 9, which means there's a lot of games, not necessarily to give, but where you can try something a little bit out of the box. Especially on this map as well, to begin things. You know, Sleep's not careful. He can get his third base pretty well segregated from the rest of his army, the rest of his units. So he'll need to take down those rocks pretty quickly because a strong 2-base attack out of Creator could deny that very easily. Yeah, I mean, and that's why we saw him get that Zergling speed early on, because he doesn't even want to deal with the attacks. If you can kill off the probe and the pylon, you know, or make sure that no pylons go down, there's a good chance that Protoss will just turn around, you know, unless it's some sort of all-in. So he doesn't even want to have that fight. He wants to prevent it from happening to begin with. So looks like he's going to have to deal with the Zealot, but overall he should be in pretty good shape, I would say. I was about to say, until he only had one Zergling, which is now dead, and working on the destructible rocks. It takes 1,000 hits from an unupgraded Zergling to be able to go through a set of destructible rocks. It's a lot of hits, man. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit annoying for Sleep. He's going to need to maybe make a couple extra units or just micro Zerglings really, really well. Ooh, very nice by Sleep. Ooh, wow. Well done. Losing one Zergling. Yeah, beautiful little Zergling micro there. And that's great. You know, a lot of Zergs would go ahead and make an extra 4 to 6 Zerglings in that situation just to try to take out that Zealot, but Sleep making the right decision, just microing his Zerglings. He had the time to do it. Not a lot really going on at this early stage of the game, so you can afford to use the APM on that and really dealt with that effectively. And now that we have the proper drone count going, he's got his Evo chamber on the way, second gas, probably going to see a Roach Warren and the Lair fairly soon.
as well. And what is Creator.Prime doing on his side?
And Creator is going for a 4-gate Robo build here.
Okay.
And decided to put down the gateways before the Robo, which is a little telling. May mean he wants to be a little bit more aggressive, put on some pressure. He is starting to clear up those destructible rocks. Now full walling off this base, so we can produce a couple of Immortals and very easily go through the rocks, establish his third right after that. So a lot of flexibility on his part, but pretty typical Protoss composition we've seen at this stage, going for those Immortals and just heavy sentries.
Yeah, now Creator.Prime isn't exactly what I would call inconsistent in his Protoss versus Zerg, but he has kind of switched between styles pretty frequently. It seems like he's kind of trying to find a place where he's comfortable in the matchup, and he hasn't quite found it yet. So lately we've been seeing him play, you know, akin to the style that he likes to play. Interesting. Really fast robotics play. That's cool. But we see him play akin to how he plays Protoss versus Terran. Just a little bit more slow, a little bit more methodical. A lot of two-base timings at first in his play, but that's kind of switched over like kind of many Protosses have been doing in this matchup. But with that quick robotics play, I wonder what we're going to see. It could be Warp Prism speed, but a fast Colossus push would be pretty good as well.
That's definitely true. The Zergling, very valuable information for Sleep there, knows that it's getting cleaned up, and indeed we do see a Nexus coming down, so we should have a good indication that there is a third base on the way. And I'll be curious to see how well he walls this. He put that pylon up at the front, which is a little curious. A lot of times, this can just be walled by 3 gateways across the front and a pylon sitting behind.
Oh, look at this. Link scouts the base.
Oh,
wow, I can't believe it. Just ran right past him. Those units have got to be feeling a little bit embarrassed. They're like, we had one job. All we had to do was stop units from getting in the base, and we didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's just one Zergling, too. Well, Creator, very telltale of him, has multiple observers out and dancing on the map as well, wants to make sure that he has perfect vision of what his opponent is doing, which is, I might add, 4 base with macro hatch sub 10 minutes now. So certainly playing very economical, very greedy, as he does have the infestation pick coming up as well. But Sleep has the potential for an incredibly strong late-game army very soon into this game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's not planning on doing any sort of attacks anytime soon. He wants to use that open area in the middle of the map to take out Creator.Prime's army when he moves out. He's like, all right, I know you're going to get 3 bases. I'm not even going to worry about it. I just want to make sure that you can't take a 4th. I want to make sure that when you come out of your base, I'm ready to crush your army, remax, and then defeat you, right? So we can see why he's breaking down the rocks right there as well. A lot of Protoss would be pretty comfortable taking that base with the rocks intact. So Sleep is just setting everything up for that late game. Like you said, he just wants to be able to be in a position where he can engage Creator.Prime's army on his terms. And I think that's the mark of a really strong Zerg versus Protoss player on a map like this. A lot of them scramble so much to try to deny the third, but on Entombed Valley, you really just have to be like, all right, I have to play for the late game. It's so hard to kill off that third in ZVP right now.
You know, this is kind of interesting, though, to mention as, okay, now Sleep does actually see the Colossi, because Creator's kind of done the same thing as well. He's like, I'm not going to worry with that Immortal stage, that denying bases stage. I'm just going to play my game. I'm going to move up to really high tech, and I'm going to play for the late game as well. So we're setting up for one of those kind of games where it's like one big engagement may decide the entire outcome here. Now, Sleep is preparing really well. Tons of spine crawlers everywhere. He's going up to Spire. Could be on Greater Spire very shortly after that, as his time is just about to finish up. So this is a very interesting game, but Sleep is really playing for the late game. Creator's really playing for the late game. And I don't know. This is either going to turn into one of the most ridiculously long, epic ZVPs we've ever seen, or it's going to be over in one fight.
Well, the interesting thing is that Creator.Prime, didn't go for that third base. A lot of Protoss players would feel very uncomfortable letting Zergs go up to 4 or 5 bases without any sort of harassment at all. I mean, it's one thing to play a safe game, right? It's another thing to just let your opponent do whatever they want. I mean, you can see that Sleep is in a position to deny a 4th. He's being active. He's accepting that there will be a third base. But honestly, Creator.Prime, I think, has played a little bit too passive this game. And, that doesn't help. But I'm a little bit worried for Creator.Prime. I feel like Sleep is just going to be ready for this army. So unless we have like a really bad engagement from Sleep, I think he's going to be in pretty good shape. He's already got plenty of Corruptors on the way. There are a lot of Colossi out, but I don't know. You just don't usually want to leave a Zerg alone for this long. We'll have to see what happens. Creator.Prime is moving out now, so it's all going to come down to this.
Big thing, too, is that Creator, of course, not really preparing with a Templar Archives, doesn't have a Stargate to eventually move into. As we see a couple of things going on at once, the Zerglings are trying to bust through this wall. There are a couple of Stalkers back at home at the same time. Wow, okay, never mind. Creator's actually going to move out.
He's going for it.
Oh, and this is going to hit before the Broodlords come up, so there's a potential for these Stalkers to do a huge amount of damage. The Corruptors are going to be able to deal with the Colossi very, very quickly, but we'll see if this Spinecrawler wall is going to be enough. Greater Spire finishing up at about 5 seconds. Zerglings have broken through, though.
Well, Sleep made a bit of a mistake with this engagement. He started fighting the army with his Corruptors before they got to the Spinecrawlers. He needed to kind of get them in range of the Spinecrawlers, and now I think it's just a little bit too late. Sleep teched very, very aggressively this game. Didn't really have much of an army to defend this push like I kind of thought he was going to. He had plenty of spines, but you really need to add on some roaches and things like that in this situation just to stay safe. So, yeah, he's paying for his greediness, and GG, that is it.